Hi. I am what is left of the manifestation in this world, the system, the programs that all came together into a manifestation from humanity as a whole, from the past of humanity as a whole, from the past of my generations. And on this earth, this system, these programs that manifested me into a living or functioning human being in this world. I was known by the name of Gaddafi. However, what I am now is a remnant of what I existed as on this earth. And what was left as me after I died is and was simply a presence, and the presence I would define as a extreme clarity and directiveness with a tinge of assertiveness, and that is all that remained of me, simply a presence after I died and left my human physical body, and all the systems, all the programs, all the constructs, all the symbols, all the languages, all the codes, all the numbers, all the sounds, all the resonances, all the dimensions, everything that made up the living, functioning system known by the name of Gaddafi. And I've come through to do an interview on an interesting point that came up for me as I was walking my life review in the interdimensions. And maybe before we get there, I should explain what death is. Death is essentially the end of a system. When I died and I was walking my life review, I could see what everything in fact really is, and could understand why it is that I could not make more of myself and my life and my people than what I initially desired. And within that also explained why it is that many human beings that are in positions in this world of especially leadership, status, importance, responsibility in terms of an extensive amount of human beings are extremely misunderstood. Obviously, only some of them. And that is what I would like to clarify in this interview, that would maybe give oneself a different perspective in considering human beings' positions in this world system, and not readily judge, discriminate, or attack certain decisions and directives that are made by them, through understanding what it is that I will be sharing. So death, I realized as I was walking my life review, was the end, the disconnection of a total system from its source, that is and has been the human physical body. Many that has walked with Destiny and the interviews that has been done with interdimensions that has come through this portal in explaining and giving perspective of what it is that we in fact are in our very living, in our physical bodies, in this physical reality, is in fact systems that function according to programs. And those programs are, for example, your thinking, your experiencing of emotions and feelings, your decisions in terms of actions, your choices in terms of relationships, your moments of reflection before taking an action, your speaking, your voicing, your communication, your life path. Everything has been explained in how it in fact is a system that govern our total self, and how we have been functioning within these programs within ourselves automatically, without question. And this I could now see for myself. But what was most concerning about this is how our very thinking, our very experiencing, our very living in these physical bodies is due to and because of past generations, and how past generations accumulated in their evolution of systematic development in functioning through these programs as thoughts and experiences and behaviors that would drive and direct the total living being, how all of that came together throughout and across time and manifested the me that was Gaddafi in this world, that who and what I was in my totality was an outflow of those that have gone before me, that there was in fact no individual real me, that I was completely engrossed within past generations, and I was locked in and integrated as a total world system, and I was in essence a puppet, strings attached within the totality of myself to at a total positioning of a point that I was taking within where I was standing within this world and this reality. It's like, for example, taking all human beings in this world and placing them in a circular ring, placing each and every single individual human being's family lineage in rings overlapping each other, extending outwards, so each human being would be standing and their family lineage would be standing behind them, their family's lineage would be standing behind them, and it would just be this massive amounts of circles upon each other. And placing, for example, myself in the center of it all, and drawing from all of humanity, all past generations, everything of everyone, and manifesting it into that one point, which would be me. And that is how it manifested with each and every single human being in this world and this reality. We are the product of everything and everyone and our total past within this existence. We are simply outflows of what was in this world and this reality. And what troubled me the most as I was reviewing my life and my history, my past, my decisions, my actions, the detail, what went through my mind, what I experienced, there was always this feeling, but I wouldn't say a feeling, it felt like a coldness that would come through me, that would stop me for a moment inside myself. And this would be before I would make a decision. And within that slight breeze of coldness, a knowing would come that what I'm about to do is going to have consequences that are not necessarily necessary, and that there is another way. But I would never consider or listen to or question that moment that would come up within me, and my actions, my decisions, my thinking, my experiences would always only remain within the context of what I've always known. And therefore, it's not within what human beings understand now as intuition or a voice in the head or anything like that. It was a moment of opportunity, one could say, where there is that point that exists in each and every single human being. If you are aware of yourself in slowing yourself down before you make decisions, before you take action, and you'll find that such moments come up within you, but we ignore it. And I hadn't ever realized that such moments were in fact this presence part of me that's now here speaking through the portal, that is emerging and standing in terms of showing that there is more, there is something else, there is a different way to what it is that I've always known myself to be in my total system of what I was existing as, in my thinking, my living, my being, and my experience. And in being reminded of those moments as I was doing my life review within the interdimensions, I could see, realize, and understand that I am and was responsible for everything in my life, for all the decisions I made, for all the actions I took, for all the experiences I had, because within me was always a knowing, was always that part of me that knew that I can stop and I can change and there is another way. But I refused to acknowledge that moment within myself, and my programming, my system, the me that was here in this world, in this reality, I essentially took myself to my own death. I mean, that's what we do. We program ourselves and live ourselves in those and such programmings to and towards our own death. There was always windows of opportunity for me. I mean, there is for each and every single human being in this world, and there is most certainly not denying that moment where you know you can stop and you can change and there is a different way. But at the same time, within the certain position that I had taken within this world, in this reality, it obviously within and during my life seemed impossible for a different way, an alternate way, a solution, because I was very set in what it is that I desired to do. And I will get to that point later in terms of what really happened in my life. However, in terms of death, as I was doing life review, death is the totality of oneself in how we are in fact programs manifested into systems that we, for example, experience to be as personalities, and we function through thinking, we function through experiencing emotions and feelings, where you can even see for yourself, if you simply slow yourself down and look inside yourself, to what extent a thought will come up, a voice will come up, energy will come up, and you will follow it. It will be a following. And one will base all of one's decisions, one's actions, one's experiences on what comes up inside us. But we've never taken that moment to stop and question it, that there's something automatically coming up, and I am in fact basing myself, my decisions, my actions, my experiences on what is coming up inside me. Where is this coming from? And that total system within ourselves at death, when the total system disconnects from the human physical body, because as many that has listened to, watched and read and applied Destiny already know and understand and see the extent to which our system is integrated into the physical, where, for example, you'll have a particular thinking pattern that come up, and you'll experience your pain in your physical body in relation to that thinking pattern, or how through time you realize that certain types of energies you are in fact experiencing in your human physical body, and therefore showing that connection between the mind and the thinking and the energies to the human physical body. And how I could see that this whole system was completely integrated into the physical, and when I died, this whole system shut down. It went black and grey and went into this rusty brown coloration, where before it was like this really clear silver metallic shine to it, with all these colors and movements moving within and throughout it, and from a systematic perspective it looked quite beautiful. And when I died, that just stopped, and I as a presence moved out, and the physical body remained the same, interestingly enough. Obviously, in terms of the human physical body will now, through time, deteriorate in its physical structural manifested form, but will within itself return to the substance of the earth in various ways, through animals, through bugs, through what is here of the earth, and would return. However, the system went from being that beautiful manifestation to shutting down completely, to literally evaporating, if you will, from going to that rusty brown, and eventually it just disappeared. And I, as a presence, was all that remained from all of it. So the only point within it that remained stable and that in fact returned to its original state was the physical. And once I was in the interdimensions, that's where I did my life review, which is what each and every single being does once they die. They have a look at their total life experience in facing the question, where were you? And it is interesting because when I looked at that question, that's what came up within me as I was looking at my life, was, where were you? And what was, dare I say, sad, because it's not like it's a sadness, it was something more deep and substantial and profound in that question, where were you? Because every single part of this existence asked that very question. And we tend to have a look at human beings in this world, and I mean everyone, no matter in what position you are, no matter how happy you seem, no matter how fine you seem, no matter how much money you have, no matter how little money you have, whether you're starving, in the process of dying, every single part asked that question, where were you? And that opened up the realization of how we participate in this world based upon what we see with our human physical eyes. And we have become acute within the ability to present a deception in this world, in this reality, to the extent that when we simply see someone, for example, smile, we perceive them to be happy, fine, or all right. Or if we see someone on the street and we immediately go into judgment or blame about it being their fault that they're on the street. And I looked and walked through everything and everyone with that question, and I realized that there's more than meets the eye. And we have to allow ourselves to really get to know ourselves, and through that start getting to know human beings, really. Start getting to know what is really going on behind the smile, behind sitting on the street, looking through the physical form into and as the actual source of what it is that has manifested that human being within the totality of who and how and what they are and where they are in this world, in this reality. We are so very quick to condemn and judge a human being within what it is that we're seeing, but we do not even take the time or the moment to get to know another human being really. Who are they? How did they get to where they are? Why are they what they are? Why are they where they are? If you simply have a look at your own life, in everything that happened to you to get you to where you are within who you are and what you do and how you do it, it is an extensive amount of influence, impact, experiences, thinking, living, doing, making mistakes, falling, standing up. And therefore, by that simple point of immediately judging someone just by one aspect of them is insanity. Because a human being does not consist of just that one moment of interaction that you have with them. A human being is the totality of their total extensive past. And in this, I realized, in seeing the totality of what is behind what we see with our human physical eyes, that I did have moments of opportunity where I could have made different decisions, taken different actions. But what I was caught up in was my desire to do something and get something done. And within that, being caught up in that desire, that one point, I neglected and separated myself from practicality in actually considering the people, the things, the family that I was in fact responsible for. And to me, within my position in this world, I justified my actions, my thinking, my experiences, my decisions, my choices, according to my desire that I do this for the people. But in that is the very separation. I do this for the people, because in doing something for someone, it's not walking with the people. I did not listen to, I did not hear, I did not see the people, in fact, in the country, the system, the politics, the money. I did not really look at everything. I did not really see everything. All I was seeing and experiencing and being, and so acting and behaving and making decisions as, was my desire to try and help, to try and get something done, to try and direct, to try and manifest a solution. And in that, I more and more try to find solutions in the background through different avenues and channels, because I was afraid of actually being a real leader, of actually taking responsibility for my position. And so the more and more I let my desire drive me, instead of me stopping fear and standing in an actual real leadership position, I went into back avenues and back doors and different institutions and corporations and groups to try and create a different solution for the country, for the people. And I more and more separated myself in that process from the people, from the country, from my position, from everything that I initially was wanting to do. And they do say good intentions pave the road to hell. I lived that. My intentions were always that desire to change the world, the way that was what was driving me. I mean, it was here. And however, the more and more I tried to do it in a different way, rather than having me take actual responsibility and direct and speak up, the more and more I isolated myself from my actual cause, from my actual desire, which was the people, my position. And the more and more I accumulated consequence with various different people, groups, money, and the more and more I was driving myself away. So, an interesting lesson, this life, in how we drive ourselves towards a particular outcome, towards a particular point, and that desire seems very good, with a real good intention, and you feel good about it, but eventually you'll realize how that point can take you to your ultimate deception. I mean, the extent to which I had to deceive, to lie, to become criminal, in fact, in how I went about trying to get things done in the country itself, with the people I was working with. The more and more I was becoming everything that I was trying not to, that I was trying to stop, that I was trying to change. And therefore showing me that I was becoming the very starting point I was accepting and allowing within myself. I was scared, and I tried to find another way of doing things instead of simply standing in that point and doing it myself. And this is what we're busy doing with everything and everyone in this world. We're trying to solve the problem of this world through different avenues, through back doors, through entities, gods, religion, charities, organizations, food programs, when the simple solution is ourselves taking responsibility for ourselves and actually seeing, hearing, and being with the people in this world and this reality. That if each one stand within the position of, I take responsibility for me and for the people, you will immediately see the practical solution in terms of how it is that we can change what is here to provide for all. Because if you take responsibility for yourself and for all, you will immediately change your starting point perspective, your living, your direction to just that point, and find ways in terms of developing manifestations, systems that will work for everything and everyone in this world, in this reality. I mean, we've surely for long enough tried to find solutions for this world and this reality. And what has happened? Everything has just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse, because we're in fact afraid. We're afraid of taking responsibility. We're afraid of speaking up. We're afraid of standing. I request from my interview that I'm doing, for those that have been running, for those that have been trying to find ways, for those that have walked a life experience into a direction of deception, betrayal, criminalistic activities, to look for and search for a better life, a better self, that has walked through religions, that has participated in charities, in food programs, organizations, that has worked in animal rehabilitation centers, that has come to the conclusion that none of that are in fact really making an impactful difference in this world, has come to the realization that nothing is really changing, to for a moment within yourself stand in that position of taking the world, taking existence, putting it inside you, and how it is that you would be able to assist and support yourself with the world, with existence as a whole. We tend to make the mistake of only living in this world within that individual mind frame of our own perspectives, views, opinions, ways, methods, experiences, past. And in that, it's only leading to one type of life, which is survival, competition, fighting, struggling. And that leads only to one door, death. And then what has become of your life? What has become of you? Nothing remains. The world just continues going on, continuing to worsen and destroy itself and implode. We must change our starting point. We must change ourselves. Place existence within you in this very moment. Do it for yourself. Place existence within you and walk your life within that starting point. Walking your process, walking this world within being the solution, not only for yourself, but for existence as a whole. Change your directive, your starting point, your living, and one will see, realize, and understand that you'll have a completely different outlook, a way of life, a view of yourself and this world as a whole. And taking from what I had explained thus far in this interview, that there's more to human beings than just meets the eye. I would stop that tendency of immediately judging, discriminating, attacking a human being just based on one point. Because you do not know the history of that human being. You do not understand their position in the total context of existence as a whole. What I would do is remember that one can only know another human being in their totality if one in fact know oneself. And that we do not even know. And the only process that is currently in this world is destiny. Destiny is the destiny of this existence. And destiny is and will be individual human beings living the change, being the change, implementing the change in this world and this reality as the living examples of destiny. We've always been waiting for our destiny. We've always been manifesting destiny into an entity. Here we say we must become the destiny of the universe, of existence, and become meaning to actually be it in our living action as living examples. So, for those that are ready, place existence inside you and walk it with you as yourself, remembering that what you're walking in your process is not only for you, but for everything and everyone else. And to realize that you first got to start with yourself. Because before you can know anyone, you first got to know yourself. And to understand another human being, you first have to understand yourself and everything of yourself. So be patient, walk your process, and share your realization so that others might take from it. And do not walk in fear of speaking, of standing, of changing, as I did. There's only one road where accepting and allowing oneself to be led by or directed by programming and systems and one's past lead to, and that's simply death and then non-existence, where all that remains of you is simply a presence. Do not die and be left with just being a presence. I would make something more of my life. And in walking my life review, I could see how I was in fact responsible for every single decision and action and experience that I accepted and allowed inside me. There was always a knowing that I could stop, that I could change, but I didn't. And each human being walking this process will know of that moment. It comes in a fleeting breeze within yourself. And it's like everything stops and you have an opportunity to change your direction, but we don't. I would pay attention to those moments where, for example, you've seen a particular habitual pattern of how it is that you work yourself up into a specific state of energetic thinking experience, and where that action or that experience would lead one into action. And even during that whole process, you do know what it is you're doing. It's like you're even observing what it is that's going on inside you. And with Destiny, we have the practical support and assistance tools that will give you that opportunity to develop those moments of windows of opportunities where you are assisted and supported with showing you how you can stop your pre-programming, your programs, and change your living where you in fact make the decisions within yourself and your life and your living. I would take this life and make it everything that I'm able to in disciplining myself and my living, not only for myself, but for existence as a whole. I mean, if you simply have a look at your individual process, you're not only walking it for yourself, you're walking it for everyone as yourself. It's going to take time and patience. One can just imagine looking at your own life within yourself, the extent to which everything created who and what it is that you are now. So be patient and walk it and become meaningful within yourself and this world. Let this world, this life, this earth have actual real meaning. So understand also in terms of human beings that are in leadership positions, like I myself was, that everyone tend to judge, attack, discriminate the individual person Like I used the example of the beggar living on the street, for example, or me myself, in the extent to which everyone attacked me. Not realizing that the position that I was standing in was because of the system that I represented, that I was locked into, that I had to function within, that I was forced into. And we tend to yell and scream and hate and take revenge on the individual. But I was in that position as a representation of a system that is being accepted by everyone in this world and this reality. The same with the beggar on the street. We intend to blame the person for where they are and how they are within their position on the street. We don't take on the very system that is causing that beggar to have to be living on the street. I mean, one can simply look at, for example, that human's being total life design and see how it was because of and due to the family they were born into not having money within their generations, not having an education or an opportunity into this world and this reality to be able to assert themselves into the world system in functioning within the normal crowd of human beings that have money, that have a abundant life experience. So this is another important point that I implore you to consider within your walking in this world and this reality. It's not the individual person by themselves alone. It's the very system that they represent. And to look beyond and through only the individual and have a look at the totality of why it is that they are in that position. What do they have to do? What system is it that they have to function within, and why? How is that system existing? Why is it existing? What is making it exist? It is all of our acceptances and allowances. I mean, even within my position, I was extremely limited in what type of decisions I could make. And it was because of and due to the extensive manifestation and type and structure and functioning of the system that I was existing within and standing within my country towards my people. And I was constricted within the avenues available to me to manifest a substantial difference within this world. I mean, you really don't understand the enslavement of a leader in this world, or a leader figure, into the very system that they represent or stand within. And therefore, one cannot judge a being within the position that they are in this world, in this reality, attack the individual, yell and scream, and judge and throw tantrums, because it's not the individual in themselves, it's the very system they represent. Therefore, look beyond the individuals and look at the system. Look beyond what you see with your human physical eyes and see the totality. You've got to assert your seeing, to extend yourself beyond only what you're seeing with your human physical eyes. You've got to look beyond the veil. That is what that means. You've got to look beyond what you're only seeing with your human physical eyes and assert your seeing, your sight, to see the totality of what a human being represents, and you'll always see the total system within and behind them. This world is not going to change by individual leaders changing. This world is going to change through changing the system within which this world functions. And the system within which this world functions is being held by the majority of humanity as a whole. It's not individuals that are responsible alone by themselves. It is within the total system that they're standing, and that very system is being accepted and allowed by individuals as humanity, as human beings, as a population in a whole. The only way we're going to change this world is if we change as a group, as a totality. So, bring yourself back here to yourself. First, get to know yourself as the totality you exist as, to get to know another human being as a totality that exists as. Get to know your system. Get to know how your world functions, how your country functions, how education functions, how religion functions, how food functions. How does this world of systems function? And one will realize that we've always been trying to find individualized solutions in this world for a solution that is for a problem that is existing within its totality. For example, hunger, starvation, and poverty is an outflow from a total system as the money system. Yet we're trying to incorporate individualized solutions as charities and food organizations and programs to solve an outflow of a total system. To stop that outflow, we've got to change the total system as the entire economic system of this world and this reality. How countries are being governed, how countries are functioning in their individual sectors and sections. We're trying to find individualized solutions from different sources, from different ways, instead of realizing that that country is functioning within the context of the total system that includes the total population of human beings that is accepting and allowing that totality. The only way we're going to change what is here is changing the systems. So stop looking into only individuals and start looking within the context of the greater and the whole. You need to start moving outside the box, looking outside the box, seeing outside the box, and considering not only yourself but existence as a whole. And therefore I say, place existence within you. Walk with and as existence, starting with yourself. And you'll realize that to be part of a change in this world and this reality, you've got to consider this world and this reality as a whole. So this is a message that I would like to come and share of my realizations, my history, and what remained of me as Gaddafi after death. And let it not be you that have to come through here and share your regrets when it's too late to make a difference. Begin now, start here, and walk with. The only way we're going to stop and change anything and make something real of this life and this world is through ourselves, and starting with ourselves. So remember, look beyond the individual. First start with yourself. Get to know the totality of yourself, and then you'll start realizing that there will be a different relationship forming with human beings, that they're not just the little things you see. There's more to everything and everyone. And then even see beyond that to see what was the system in which they are positioned and locked into and manifested into that got them into that very state of being that they are in the totality of that they are. And you'll see beyond that the total system of money, the total system of religion, the total system of government, the total system of this world. Everything has become systems through which we function, positioning human beings into a total lifestyle and self-experience of who and what they are, and internally within a whole family generation. And the systems we require implementing that will benefit all equally is letting go of religion, letting go of government in how it is currently individualized within particular countries, and separated within beliefs, culture, and money itself, and considering a solution that is the world as a whole, in manifesting the world as one country, the country of world, and functioning within that, within a money system that reach everyone equally as one, as an equal money system. And within that, we will become the manifest change of this world and this reality when we start seeing that there's more to human beings and ourselves than meet the eye. And we'll stop fighting and competing for survival, because we'll actually have an opportunity to live and honor and regard life. Thank you.